This is not going to be easy for me. I want you to know, honestly, because it's difficult to stand up in front of a group of people and share your soul. It's easy to talk about my business and my political career, such as it was. But it's not easy to talk about how this spirit has guided me through the whole process. I was alone in Grand Central Terminal, surrounded by people laying on the ground, on the floor, as if they were bodies in the Vietnam War. People laying up against garbage out on the street, and you couldn't tell the difference between the human beings and the bags of garbage. Our city was littered with human beings. And when I walked into Grand Central, they had had previously the great idea to open it up and let folks stay overnight. And all of the homeless people from all over the city came there, and the management decided, no, that's not a good idea, and we'll close it at 1 o'clock in the evening. This was in 1984. And there were no solutions for homelessness. The government wasn't helping. Nobody was helping. A friend of mine, Bob Hayes, and I started to volunteer. We raised some money, and we bought sandwiches, and we went there at 10 o'clock every night and stood on and fed people who stood on a line out on 43rd and Vanderbilt. Every night they came, 400 people. And then we'd bring the food inside the terminal, and we'd feed the people who were too old or frail or elderly or mentally challenged to be able to stand out on that long line. I did that for 700 nights in a row. Every night at 10 o'clock at night. I didn't miss a night. And Bradley Solomon, who's here, Bradley was right there. And I listened to those people. I knew nothing. I was a politician. What did I know? But the Spirit guided me to listen to what these folks said. And they said, George, we appreciate the sandwich, but what we really want is a room and a job to pay for it. A room and a job to pay for it. What could be simpler than that? So then you had to ask yourself, why? If they wanted to work, couldn't they work? Well, there were all those barriers that we don't have to go into to talk about. No place to take a shower, no place to get a telephone call, no place to live. I mean, so obviously it wasn't so easy to go to work. But the important thing that I was able to understand was that lacking an opportunity was the problem. Not that the people weren't motivated to go to work. Sure, some couldn't, but 90% of them were ready, willing, and able to work. And that's what we set out to do. I was all alone when I started this, and then the next thing that happened is that the good Lord brought me the most wonderful woman that ever walked into my life, Harriet Carr McDonald. She lived in Beverly Hills. And she came in to St. Agnes Church on 43rd, right across from the terminal, when a young girl that I used to feed, April Savino, had killed herself on the steps of the church because she couldn't sell this little gun to get some crack cocaine. So Harriet had been a screenwriter and came, unbeknownst to me, to Grand Central, and had spent a couple of weeks with April and tried to bring her back to the Betty Ford Center. April hid from her, and so she came to the funeral to this church. And I was giving a eulogy, and she thought I was a Catholic priest. And afterwards, she said, can we get together and talk about April? And I said, certainly. We met at the Lion's Head in the village. And she tells the story that as I was rubbing her leg, she thought, what they say about these Catholic priests is true. As I put her in the cab, I watched her go, and she looked back. And that was it. We fell in love that weekend. I went out to Beverly Hills, adopted her 10-year-old daughter. We got married 2 months after that. She moved to New York. We've been married 21 years. Because of her, my whole family is together now. My own family. My son, my daughters, I have grandchildren. I have a life, but I was alone. And now I have a life. My own life. And because I had my own life and I had somebody that loved me, and we went out and she appreciated the work that I did, and we did it together, and we transformed the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands of people while we transformed our own lives, while we found meaning in our own life. Now, I have to share with you before we finish, before Bradley lifts up his hands and says, I've been 10 minutes. See? I have 10 minutes. Well, I have to share how the Spirit guides. Because I have, and my wife will tell you this, it doesn't work if you try to profit yourself. Just let me say that to begin with. So while I may be able to tell you the lottery numbers on the television as they drop, I can't win a lottery with a money prize. I can do that to show what it's like to be able to tell what's going to happen next before it happens. Another way to say it is that you have faith that what you need will come to you. You don't have to go search the world to find it. It will come to you when you need it. Another way of saying it is God doesn't give you everything you ask for, but she gives you what you need. I have felt in sync, in a spirit of grace, when I take myself out of it and put the needs of the people that I seek to serve first. That's all you really have to do. And when you remove yourself, you can see clearly what steps you have to take next.